Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're delving into The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah, a novel that takes us through the harrowing times of World War II in France, seen through the lives of two sisters, Vianne and Isabelle. Setting the scene and introducing the characters. The Nightingale opens in the tranquil village of Carriveau, a picturesque setting that starkly contrasts the dark events that are about to unfold. The story is primarily set during the German occupation of France, capturing the essence of a country under siege and the resilience of its people. The narrative is split between two main characters, Vianne Mauriac and her younger sister, Isabelle Rossignol. Each woman represents a different response to the war, making the novel a profound exploration of human endurance and resistance. Vianne, the elder sister, is introduced as a schoolteacher and a devoted mother living a peaceful life with her husband, Antoine, and their daughter, Sophie. Vianne's life is one of routine and stability, deeply rooted in the love for her family and the security of her home. However, her world begins to crumble when Antoine is called to serve in the French army, leaving her alone to face the escalating war. Vianne's character is defined by her initial passivity and her struggle to maintain normalcy in an increasingly hostile environment. Isabelle, in contrast, is a rebellious and spirited young woman. She has spent most of her life in boarding schools, a consequence of their mother's death and their father's emotional withdrawal. This upbringing has left Isabelle feeling abandoned and unloved, fueling her defiance and need for purpose. When war breaks out, Isabelle's fervor finds an outlet as she throws herself into the French resistance, determined to fight against the Nazis in any way she can. The early chapters of the novel lay the groundwork for the sisters' journeys, presenting the stark differences in their personalities and life choices. Vianne's character is rooted in fear and caution, traits that stem from her desire to protect her daughter at all costs. She is initially reluctant to confront the harsh realities of the occupation, hoping to keep her family safe by keeping her head down and avoiding conflict. On the other hand, Isabelle's impetuous nature leads her to Paris, where she joins the burgeoning resistance movement. Her decision is driven by a combination of personal vendetta against the Germans and a desire to prove her worth. Isabelle's storyline introduces us to the covert world of the resistance, filled with clandestine meetings, coded messages, and the constant threat of betrayal and capture. The juxtaposition of Vianne's and Isabelle's approaches to the war sets the stage for a narrative that explores the multifaceted nature of bravery and survival. Vianne's struggle is internal, as she grapples with the moral implications of her actions and inactions. Isabelle's battle is external, as she risks her life in active rebellion against the occupiers. As the war unfolds, both sisters are forced to confront their deepest fears and find strength they didn't know they possessed. Their parallel yet divergent paths illuminate the diverse experiences of women during the war, highlighting the ways in which they resisted oppression and fought to protect their loved ones and their homeland. The war's impact and the sisters' diverging paths. As the war progresses, the once peaceful village of Carriveau becomes a site of profound tension and fear. German soldiers occupy the town, and the presence of the enemy becomes an inescapable reality for Vianne. Her home is seized, and Captain Wolfgang Beck, a German officer, is assigned to live with her. This intrusion is a constant source of anxiety for Vianne, who must now navigate the dangerous terrain of hosting the enemy while trying to keep her daughter safe. Captain Beck is portrayed with a degree of complexity, a man who, despite his role, exhibits a certain humanity that confounds Vianne. This nuanced portrayal adds depth to the narrative, as it challenges the simplistic dichotomy of good versus evil, showing that even within the enemy ranks, there are individuals with their own moral struggles. Vianne's evolution is slow, but significant. Initially paralyzed by fear and a desire to keep her daughter out of harm's way, she begins to realize that inaction is also a form of complicity. The turning point in her character comes when she decides to take a stand in small but meaningful ways, such as hiding Jewish children in the orphanage where she works. These actions, though seemingly minor, carry immense risk, as the Nazis' policies become increasingly brutal. Isabelle's journey runs parallel to Vianne's, but in a world of direct action and constant peril. In Paris, she becomes deeply involved in the French resistance, assuming the codename Nightingale. Isabelle's work involves dangerous missions, such as guiding downed Allied airmen across the Pyrenees Mountains to safety in Spain. These treacherous journeys, filled with the threat of discovery at every turn, demonstrate Isabelle's unwavering courage and determination to fight back against the occupation. Isabelle's involvement in the resistance is fraught with danger. Every mission is a gamble, and the stakes are life and death. Her character embodies the youthful defiance and idealism that often propels individuals into the heart of the conflict. However, her bravery is not without cost, as the weight of her actions and the constant exposure to danger take a toll on her physically and emotionally. The sisters' lives, though different in their approaches to the war, begin to intersect more profoundly as the narrative unfolds. Vianne's increasing involvement in resistance efforts within her village, though less visible than Isabelle's, is equally vital. She helps to save the lives of many Jewish children by finding them refuge, an act of quiet defiance that illustrates her growing strength and courage. Isabelle, on the other hand, faces the constant threat of betrayal and capture. Her work in the resistance makes her a target, and the tension in her storyline escalates as the German forces intensify their efforts to dismantle the resistance network. Through these parallel narratives, Kristin Hannah masterfully explores the different facets of heroism. Vianne represents the silent majority who resist in ways that are less visible, but equally important. Isabelle symbolizes the active combatants, those who take up arms or engage in direct conflict against their oppressors. Both paths are fraught with peril, and both women pay heavy prices for their bravery. As we move forward in the story, the stakes for both sisters grow higher. The emotional and physical toll of the war is immense, and the decisions they make will have far-reaching consequences for themselves and those around them. The climax and unfolding tragedy. As the Nightingale approaches its climax, the war's devastating impact deepens, bringing with it a series of harrowing events that test the limits of both Vianne and Isabelle's resilience. The sisters' paths, though divergent, converge in their shared experience of loss, sacrifice, and unyielding resistance against the German occupation. Vianne's character arc reaches a critical point when the Nazis' policies against the Jewish population become increasingly severe. Her quiet village of Carriveau, once a place of relative safety, becomes a dangerous ground as the Nazis start rounding up Jews for deportation to concentration camps. Vianne's decision to hide Jewish children in her home and find them sanctuary in the orphanage becomes not just an act of kindness, but a defiant stand against the inhumanity surrounding her. Each child Vianne saves represents a profound act of courage, as she risks her life and her daughter's safety to protect the innocent. Her actions are driven by an unwavering moral compass and a deep sense of duty to do what is right, even in the face of overwhelming danger. The stakes for Vianne grow higher with each passing day, as the threat of discovery looms large, and the consequences of being caught are nothing short of lethal. Meanwhile, Isabelle's role in the resistance escalates, with her missions becoming more perilous and the risks ever present. The network she is part of becomes a vital lifeline for many, but the Germans are relentless in their pursuit to dismantle the resistance. Isabelle's daring exploits, under her code name Nightingale, become legendary among the Allied forces, but they also make her a prime target for the Nazis. The tension in Isabelle's narrative reaches its peak when she is betrayed and captured by the Gestapo. Her capture is a heart-wrenching moment that underscores the brutal reality of war and the high cost of resistance. Isabelle is subjected to torture, but even in the face of unimaginable pain, her resolve does not waver. Her strength, though tested, remains unbroken, and her spirit becomes a symbol of unyielding defiance. As the novel progresses toward its resolution, the sisters' stories become a poignant reflection of the varied forms of resistance during the war. Vianne's quiet acts of rebellion and Isabelle's overt defiance serve as parallel narratives that highlight the different ways individuals can resist oppression. Their sacrifices and the burdens they carry are immense, but they also illuminate the indomitable spirit of those who refuse to bow down to tyranny. The emotional depth of the Nightingale is further heightened by the relationships that the sisters forge and lose along the way. Vianne's interactions with Captain Beck, whose humanity contrasts with the brutality of his compatriots, add layers of complexity to her story. Beck's ultimate fate, intertwined with Vianne's acts of resistance, serves as a reminder of the personal cost of war on all sides. Isabelle's relationships, particularly with Gaëtan, a fellow resistance fighter, bring a touch of romance to her otherwise perilous journey. Their connection, forged in the crucible of war, is both a source of strength and vulnerability for Isabelle. The love and camaraderie among the resistance members highlight the human bonds that provide solace and motivation in the darkest times. The aftermath and the legacy of courage. As the Nightingale moves toward its conclusion, the aftermath of the war begins to unfold, bringing with it both relief and sorrow. The liberation of France by the Allied forces marks the end of the German occupation, but the scars left by the war are deep and lasting. For Vianne and Isabelle, the end of the war signifies a bittersweet victory, shadowed by the loss and pain endured over the years. Vianne's transformation throughout the novel reaches its culmination in the post-war period. The quiet, cautious woman who once sought to avoid conflict has become a symbol of quiet resistance and moral fortitude. The children she saved, the lives she touched, and the risks she took are testament to her inner strength and the extraordinary courage she discovered within herself. Yet, the cost of her actions weighs heavily on her, as she grapples with the trauma and loss that the war inflicted on her family and her community. The village of Carriveau, though liberated, is a place marked by absence and the ghosts of those who did not survive. Vianne's personal losses, including the death of loved ones and the permanent changes to her once peaceful life, highlight the enduring impact of war on the survivors. Her journey is one of resilience and rebuilding, as she seeks to forge a new life in the aftermath of devastation. Isabelle's story, however, ends in tragedy. After enduring unimaginable suffering in a Nazi prison camp, Isabelle's health deteriorates, and she succumbs to the wounds inflicted by the war. Her death is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by countless individuals who fought against tyranny, often paying the ultimate price. Isabelle's legacy, though, lives on in the stories of those she helped and in the annals of the resistance. The novel's structure, which intersperses the wartime narrative with a present-day storyline involving an elderly Vianne, serves to underscore the long-lasting impact of the war. The present-day Vianne, who is now reflecting on her past, provides a narrative bridge that connects the reader to the historical events of the 1940s and the personal histories that shaped the lives of those who lived through them. In the present, Vianne is portrayed as a woman of strength and wisdom, who carries the memories of her sister and the war years with her. The novel closes with a sense of closure and reconciliation, as Vianne's journey comes full circle. Her reflections on the past are not just a recounting of events, but a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. The legacy of Vianne and Isabelle, as depicted in The Nightingale, is one of profound courage and the enduring impact of resistance, both quiet and bold. The novel stands as a powerful testament to the strength of women in wartime, shedding light on the often overlooked contributions and sacrifices they made. It invites readers to reflect on the different forms of heroism and the ways in which ordinary people can rise to extraordinary challenges. The impact of war on identity and relationships. As the war progresses and the characters in The Nightingale face increasingly dire circumstances, the impact of the conflict on their identities and relationships becomes more pronounced. The war acts as a crucible, reshaping who they are and how they relate to each other and to their world. For Vianne, the war forces a redefinition of her role not only as a mother but also as a protector and a symbol of hope. Her initial instinct to shield her daughter Sophie from the horrors of war gradually evolves into active participation in the resistance, making her a reluctant hero. The experiences Vianne endures strip away the layers of her former self, leaving behind a woman who has learned to navigate through fear and danger for the sake of others. Her relationship with Sophie also transforms, as Sophie witnesses her mother's acts of bravery and begins to understand the complexities of survival during wartime. Isabelle's transformation is even more pronounced. The headstrong, impulsive young woman who sought adventure and purpose finds her calling in the resistance. Her identity as the Nightingale becomes a crucial part of who she is, shaping her sense of self and her place in the world. The war molds her into a figure of defiance and strength, but it also isolates her, as the burden of leadership and the risks she takes create a distance between her and those she loves. Her relationship with Gaetan, while a source of emotional support, is fraught with the tension of their dangerous reality, underscoring the difficulty of maintaining personal connections in times of war. The sisters' relationship, central to the novel, undergoes significant strain and growth due to the war. The initial resentment Isabelle feels towards Vianne, who she perceives as passive and complacent, is gradually replaced by understanding and respect as she comes to recognize the quiet courage in Vianne's actions. Similarly, Vianne's protective instincts towards Isabelle evolve as she acknowledges her sister's bravery and the immense risks she takes. The war becomes a catalyst for their reconciliation, deepening their bond and mutual respect. The theme of identity is also explored through the secondary characters, each of whom grapples with their own sense of self amid the chaos. From Captain Beck, whose internal conflict between duty and morality humanizes the enemy, to the various members of the resistance who adopt new identities for survival, the Nightingale paints a complex picture of how war alters personal identities and relationships. This part highlights the transformative effects of war on the characters' identities and relationships, adding depth to the narrative and setting the stage for the final reflections on the legacy of courage. The symbolism of the Nightingale. The title of the novel, The Nightingale, carries rich symbolism that permeates the story, adding layers of meaning to the narrative. The Nightingale, known for its melodious song and its association with poetry and romance, is often seen as a symbol of hope, freedom, and resilience. In Kristin Hannah's novel, the Nightingale becomes a multifaceted symbol that reflects the character's struggles, sacrifices, and triumphs during the harrowing years of World War II. Isabelle's codename in the Resistance, the Nightingale, directly ties her character to this symbolism. Her daring actions, which involve guiding downed Allied airmen across the Pyrenees to safety, mirror the Nightingale's ability to navigate the darkness and bring light through its song. Isabelle embodies the qualities of the Nightingale, singing a song of resistance and defiance against the oppressive forces of the Nazi occupation. Her bravery and self-sacrifice inspire those around her, much like the Nightingale's song brings solace in the night. Beyond Isabelle, the Nightingale also represents the quiet yet powerful resistance of Vianne and other women who, like the bird, might not be at the forefront of the battlefield but play crucial roles in the fight for freedom. Vianne's actions, from sheltering Jewish children to confronting the German officer stationed in her home, echo the resilience and courage symbolized by the Nightingale. She, too, becomes a beacon of hope, demonstrating that heroism can be found in the most unexpected places. The novel's use of the Nightingale as a symbol extends to the broader context of the war, illustrating the importance of hope and resilience in the face of overwhelming darkness. The Nightingale's song, a constant in the natural world, serves as a reminder of the persistence of beauty, truth, and freedom even in times of great suffering. It underscores the idea that, despite the atrocities of war, the human spirit remains unbroken, capable of soaring above the chaos and finding its voice. Furthermore, the Nightingale's symbolism ties into the theme of memory and the enduring legacy of those who resisted. Just as the Nightingale's song lingers in the air long after it has been sung, the stories of Vianne, Isabelle, and others who fought against tyranny continue to resonate, reminding future generations of the sacrifices made and the courage displayed during one of history's darkest periods. Themes and reflections in the Nightingale. In the concluding part of The Nightingale, Kristin Hannah brings together the themes explored throughout the novel, leaving readers with a profound sense of the complexities of human nature and the resilience of the human spirit. The novel's exploration of courage, sacrifice, love, and memory culminates in a poignant reflection on the cost of war and the legacy of those who resist oppression. One of the most striking themes of the novel is the multifaceted nature of courage. Both Vianne and Isabelle demonstrate different forms of bravery, illustrating that courage is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Vianne's protective instincts and gradual transformation into a quiet hero are contrasted with Isabelle's audacious and overt defiance. This duality of courage underscores the idea that heroism comes in many forms and that each act of bravery, no matter how small, contributes to the larger struggle against tyranny. The theme of sacrifice is deeply embedded in the narrative, with both sisters making profound sacrifices for the greater good. Isabelle's ultimate sacrifice for the resistance and Vianne's sacrifices in protecting Jewish children highlight the personal cost of standing up against injustice. Their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the countless unsung heroes who risked everything during the war, many of whom remain anonymous but whose contributions were invaluable. Love, in its various forms, is another central theme. The love between sisters, the love for family, and the love for one's country are all depicted as powerful motivators that drive the characters to extraordinary lengths. The romantic love between Isabelle and Gaëtan, though fraught with challenges, provides a glimpse of hope and tenderness amidst the brutality of war. Vianne's love for her children and her commitment to their safety further emphasize the strength found in familial bonds. The narrative structure, which oscillates between the past and the present, allows for a deep exploration of memory and its impact on identity. The story's conclusion, set in the present day, serves as a testament to the enduring power of memory in preserving the legacies of those who lived through the war. Vianne's reflections as an older woman, coupled with the discovery of Isabelle's true contributions, underscore the importance of remembering and honoring the sacrifices of the past. Finally, The Nightingale is a powerful tribute to the often overlooked roles of women during wartime. By focusing on the experiences of Vianne and Isabelle, Hannah shifts the narrative away from the traditional male-centric stories of war, shining a light on the courage, resilience, and ingenuity of women. The novel's emphasis on the female experience in war not only broadens the understanding of history but also pays homage to the countless women who fought, resisted, and endured. Kristin Hannah's The Nightingale is a moving and unforgettable story that captures the essence of human strength in the face of unimaginable adversity. It is a reminder of the many ways in which people can resist oppression, and a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit.